That seasoning blend you're shaking onto your dinner right now may contain lead, arsenic, hidden MSG disguised as natural flavor, anti-caking chemicals banned in other countries, and fillers with zero nutritional value, all packed behind labels that say things like premium, all natural, and chef trusted. For seniors managing blood pressure or kidney health, for parents seasoning food for children every single night, this isn't just bad cooking, it's silent poisoning disguised as flavor. In today's video, we're exposing 11 seasoning brands you should never buy, and at the end, we'll reveal 3 that are actually clean, tested, and worth every penny. 11. Lawry's Seasoned Salt. The yellow canister, the gold label, the seasoning your parents sprinkled on everything from steaks to scrambled eggs since 1938. Lawry's built its empire on one promise: flavor made simple. Open that canister right now and read what's actually inside. Salt comes first, then sugar, then paprika, which sounds fine, until you realize paprika in industrial seasoning blends as one of the most heavily contaminated spices on the planet. In 2023, Consumer Reports published testing showing paprika and paprika-based blends among the highest for heavy metal contamination, including lead and arsenic across dozens of popular brands. Then there's the monosodium glutamate, listed plainly on the label. For most adults, that's not automatically dangerous, but Lawry's doesn't stop there. They add hydrolyzed corn protein and hydrolyzed soy protein, 2 ingredients that both release free glutamate during processing. You're getting triple-stacked glutamate sources in a single shake of that yellow canister. Companies use this trick specifically because it amplifies the addictive response without technically listing MSG 3 times. Sodium count: 380 milligrams per quarter teaspoon serving. A quarter teaspoon. Most people use 5 to 10 times that amount. For seniors managing hypertension, one seasoned meal can consume half your daily sodium limit before you even sit down. For children with MSG sensitivity, the triple glutamate load triggers headaches, flushing, and behavioral changes. Their parents never connect to the shaker on the kitchen counter. 86 years of trust, one label full of tricks. 10. Old Bay. The blue and yellow tin, Maryland's identity in a can. Crab boils, seafood platters, summer cookouts. Old Bay isn't just a seasoning, it's nostalgia wrapped in tin. McCormick acquired it in 1990, and the formula has been quietly shifting toward mass production economics ever since. Flip the tin and read the ingredient list. Celery salt, which is already a sodium accelerant. Then spices, listed as a single vague word. Spices. That one word legally covers up to dozens of individual compounds. You have no idea what's actually in there because McCormick doesn't have to tell you. Here's the problem: that word hides. Independent lab testing, published in 2022, found that several McCormick-owned blends, including paprika-forward products like Old Bay, contain detectable levels of lead. The FDA has documented for years that red and orange spices, cayenne, paprika, chili powder, consistently test among the highest for heavy metal contamination. Old Bay's signature color comes directly from those spices. Shake some onto your hand right now. That deep orange-red dust coating your palm. Each time that dust hits your food, you're adding compounds your body cannot process or eliminate efficiently, especially in aging kidneys. For pregnant women seasoning seafood during pregnancy, lead from spice blends crosses the placental barrier and contributes to fetal neurotoxicity at any detectable dose. Old Bay built its reputation on coastal summers. What it's quietly delivering is heavy metals with every shake. 9 Dash, formerly Mrs. Dash. The salt-free seasoning, the heart-healthy choice. The brand cardiologists used to recommend by name. Mrs. Dash became Dash in 2021 when B&G Foods rebranded it, stripping out the wholesome Mrs. imagery while keeping the health halo intact. Read the ingredients on Dash Table Blend: onion, spices, garlic, orange peel, tomato, lemon juice powder. Sounds clean? Then you hit it. Maltodextrin, a highly processed corn-derived filler with a glycemic index higher than table sugar. It's used to add bulk, improve texture, and keep costs low. For diabetics who specifically chose Dash because of its no-salt, heart-healthy marketing, maltodextrin silently spikes blood sugar faster than a candy bar. Then there are the natural flavors. That phrase appears on nearly every Dash variety. Natural flavors is a legal umbrella term. The FDA allows for hundreds of lab-engineered compounds, including hidden MSG, derivatives, yeast extracts, and glutamate boosters. The same additives Dash's health-conscious customers are trying to avoid. B&G Foods has faced multiple class action suits over misleading natural claims across its brand portfolio. Dash settled quietly and changed nothing meaningful on the label. The same maltodextrin is still there. The same natural flavors are still there. For seniors managing blood sugar who switched to Dash believing it was safer, you traded sodium for a hidden glycemic bomb. 8. Morton Season All. Morton built its brand identity on salt. Simple, trustworthy, the girl with the umbrella since 1914. Season All was their expansion into the seasoning blend market, and they brought the same industrial logic with them. Check the ingredient panel. Salt first, then chili pepper, paprika, and spices. Same vague spices loophole as Old Bay. Then tricalcium phosphate, the anti-caking agent that keeps the powder flowing freely out of the shaker. Tricalcium phosphate sounds benign until you understand that it's the same compound used in fertilizers and bone supplements. Daily consumption adds up. Research published in the Journal of the American Heart Association links excessive calcium phosphate intake to arterial calcification, the hardening of arteries that contributes directly to heart disease. Sodium sits at 430 milligrams per half teaspoon. Half a teaspoon. That is not how anyone uses seasoning. For seniors with kidney disease, the phosphate load alone creates problems. Damaged kidneys can't regulate phosphate properly. It accumulates in the blood, pulling calcium from bones and depositing it in blood vessels. Morton Season All is sold specifically as an all-purpose blend, something you'd use on everything, every day. That daily accumulation of excess sodium and arterial calcium compounds is exactly the problem. 7. Tone's Spices. Walk into any restaurant supply store or warehouse club. Giant containers, bargain pricing, the Tone's name stacked high on industrial shelving. Tone's has supplied commercial kitchens and families since 1873. Then McCormick purchased them, and everything that mattered about Tone's got stripped out. Tone's now functions as McCormick's bulk, budget tier operation. Same corporate infrastructure, worse sourcing, lower price points. The spices in those massive Tone's containers are sourced from the cheapest available global suppliers with the least transparency in the entire McCormick portfolio. A 2022 investigation by the Clean Label Project tested dozens of spice brands for heavy metals and pesticide residues. Budget-tier bulk brands performed worst. Tone's products showed elevated arsenic levels in multiple tested samples. Arsenic accumulates in the body. It doesn't flush out between meals. It builds in kidney tissue, liver tissue, and skin over years of daily exposure. Open a Tone's container and smell it. That flat, stale aroma is not what fresh spice smells like. These products sit in distribution warehouses for months before reaching shelves. Spices lose volatile compounds that determine both flavor and antioxidant content within weeks of being ground. What reaches your kitchen from a Tone's container is nutritionally hollow powder, at best. Heavy metal contaminated powder, at worst. McCormick charges premium prices for its branded products. Tone's is how they serve the budget market without protecting the budget consumer. 6. Bataya Spices. Colorful packaging. Incredibly low prices. The brand stocking the shelves of Latino grocery stores and discount retailers from Florida to California. Bataya has built an empire on accessible pricing and broad variety. Over 600 products. Every spice imaginable. Priced so cheaply it seems impossible to pass up. That price is the warning sign most people ignore. In 2015 and again in 2018, independent testing found detectable lead in Bataya products, particularly in ground turmeric and chili powder. Turmeric is one of the spices most frequently implicated in lead contamination globally. The FDA has documented cases of lead chromate being deliberately added to ground turmeric at the source to enhance its yellow color, increase weight, and boost visual appeal. This practice occurs at supplier level in countries like Bangladesh and India, two of Badia's sourcing regions, based on import records. Badia does not publish third-party testing results. There is no transparency report, no batch codes linking finished product to origin farm. For a brand selling over 600 products across a global supply chain, that opacity is staggering. Pour Badia turmeric into your palm. That intense yellow color. Lead chromate produces that exact color. It is a known carcinogen. For pregnant women, adding turmeric to food daily, because of its supposed anti-inflammatory benefits, you could be ingesting a compound that causes precisely the fetal damage you're trying to prevent. 600 products, 0 published test results. That math only works if they have something to hide. 5. Spice islands, premium glass jars, higher shelf placement. A name that evokes exotic origins and artisan quality. Spice Islands cost more than the generic brands for one simple reason. The packaging makes you feel like you're buying something better. You're not. Spice Islands was purchased by Mizkan, a Japanese food conglomerate, in 2013. Since acquisition, sourcing decisions shifted toward cost optimization rather than quality. The premium glass jar stayed. The supply chain standards did not. Open any Spice Islands jar and read the ingredient label. For most products, you'll see one word, the spice name. No origin country, no harvest date, no certifying body, no batch transparency. Despite premium positioning and premium pricing, Spice Islands offers consumers no more information about what's in the jar than the 99-cent store brand. Consumer Reports testing found that premium positioned spice brands perform no better on heavy metal contamination than budget brands, because the problem is in agricultural sourcing, not packaging design. Spice Islands sources from the same global industrial suppliers as its cheaper competitors, adds a better jar, doubles the price, and markets the gap as quality. For health-conscious consumers, paying $3 to $4 per jar, believing they're buying something cleaner, you're paying for glass and brand mythology, not better sourcing. 4. Great value seasonings. Walmart. The economics don't work. A full bottle of great value garlic powder for 98 cents. Real garlic, commercially grown, harvested, dried, milled, tested, packaged, distributed, and sold for under $1. Where is the profit margin? There isn't one, unless corners are being cut somewhere that affects what ends up in that bottle. Great Value Spices offers 0 origin disclosure, no country of origin, no batch codes, no testing transparency. The FDA has flagged garlic powder as one of the most consistently contaminated spice categories for heavy metals. The majority of budget garlic powder on U.S. shelves is sourced from China, where agricultural soil contamination with lead and cadmium from industrial activity is a documented and ongoing crisis. In 2021, the FDA issued import alerts on specific Chinese spice exporters for contamination violations. Those alerts have not stopped adulterated product from entering the U.S. market through distributors who repackage before selling to budget retailers. Smell a bottle of Great Value garlic powder. That muted, flat aroma lacking the sharp punch of real garlic. That's what happens when garlic has been sitting in bulk storage for 6 to 12 months before grinding. Nutritionally dead, potentially contaminated. 98 cents. For families seasoning dinner every night for children, cumulative heavy metal exposure from daily spice use adds up faster than any single contamination event. Walmart moves millions of units every month. That scale is the danger. 3. McCormick Seasoning Blends. The red cap, the brand in 90% of American kitchens. McCormick has spent 130 years building the most trusted name in spices. That trust is the most expensive thing they sell, and they've been spending it down quietly for years. McCormick's core single ingredient spices are one product. Their seasoning blends are something entirely different. Products like taco seasoning, ranch dressing mix, fajita seasoning, and burrito seasoning are where McCormick hides the shortcuts. Red McCormick's taco seasoning. Maltodextrin is listed second, before most of the actual spices. Silicon dioxide, an anti-caking agent derived from sand, appears near the bottom. Then, natural flavors, the legal cover for hidden glutamate compounds. Then, modified cornstarch, a chemically altered thickener linked to digestive inflammation. Sodium in 1 McCormick Taco. Seasoning packet, 1,600 milligrams. 1,600 milligrams. That is 70% of the daily recommended limit in a single taco night. For seniors managing heart failure or kidney disease, one family taco dinner can push them into dangerous territory. McCormick faced a class action lawsuit in 2019 over natural flavor claims on products containing synthetic additives. They settled. They reformulated nothing. The same maltodextrin is still second on that list. For families who trust that red cap because it's always been there, you're trusting the brand, not the ingredients. 2. Clubhouse, Canadian heritage brand. Widely available in U.S. border states and through online retail. McCormick Canada owns it. Same corporate parent, separate product development, and in several documented cases, lower testing standards applied to products sold in the Canadian and cross-border U.S. market than to McCormick's flagship American line. Clubhouse seasoning blends contain modified cornstarch, maltodextrin, and natural flavors across nearly every blend product. Their La Grille line, marketed for grilling and positioned as premium, contains caramel color as an ingredient in several varieties. Caramel color produced through ammonia processing generates 4-methylimidazole, known as 4-MEI. California Proposition 65 lists 4-MEI as a known carcinogen. The FDA has not acted to restrict it. Clubhouse does not publish testing data on heavy metals, pesticide residues, or contaminant levels for any of their seasoning blends. For a brand selling across an international border, this absence of transparency is remarkable. For consumers near the US-Canada border who stock Clubhouse because it's familiar and affordable, you're buying a McCormick product held to McCormick's least rigorous standards. Premium grilling brand. Zero published safety verification. 1. Accent flavor enhancer, the White Shaker. The brand that built its entire identity on one ingredient, monosodium glutamate. Accent has been marketed as a flavor secret since 1947. A pinch makes everything taste better. Beloved by home cooks, recommended by chefs. Here's the problem hiding in plain sight. Accent is pure concentrated MSG with no other ingredients to slow its absorption. When you add Accent to food, you are adding industrial-grade concentrated free glutamate directly to your meal at levels that far exceed what naturally occurs in any whole food. The FDA classifies MSG as generally recognized as safe. What the FDA does not acknowledge is that the research on MSG sensitivity has been systematically underfunded, and that industry-sponsored studies have dominated the literature for 60 years. Independent researchers have documented MSG-associated symptom complex, headaches, facial pressure, chest tightness, heart palpitations, and nausea in sensitive individuals consuming concentrated doses. For seniors on beta blockers or calcium channel blockers for heart arrhythmia, concentrated MSG intake can trigger palpitation episodes that get misattributed to the underlying condition rather than what they just ate. Millions of people cycle through cardiology appointments looking for the cause of irregular heartbeats while continuing to season food with the White Shaker they've used for decades. Accent makes everything taste better by triggering an addictive neurological response your body cannot turn off. That's not cooking, that's chemical dependency in a shaker. Go check your spice cabinet right now. If you see Lori's, Badia, Great Value, McCormick blends, Tones, or Accent, you now know what you've been shaking onto your family's food. But clean seasoning still exists. Some companies test for heavy metals, disclose their sourcing, and use real ingredients without fillers or chemical shortcuts. These 3 brands prove it's still possible. Simply organic. Certified organic. Third-party verified. The difference starts with the USDA organic seal and what it legally requires at the agricultural source. No synthetic pesticides, no irradiation, no GMO inputs. Then, Simply Organic goes further. Their single origin products identified the country of origin on the label, not buried in fine print. On the front panel, their website publishes sourcing information by product category. For a mass-market spice brand, that level of transparency is genuinely rare. Ingredient lists are clean. No maltodextrin, no silicon dioxide, no natural flavors as a cover for engineered compounds. Just the spice, organic certified, and a few clearly identified functional ingredients when needed. For seniors who want assurance about what they're putting on daily meals without paying specialty store prices, Simply Organic is widely available at mainstream grocery stores at a small premium over conventional brands. That premium buys you organic certification, origin transparency, and a company that has never been named in a heavy metal contamination lawsuit. Real organic, real transparency, real flavor. Frontier Co-op. Worker-owned, cooperative since 1976. When a company is owned by the workers producing its products, the incentive structure changes entirely. Frontier Co-op tests every lot for pesticide residues, heavy metals, and microbial contamination before release. Results are tracked internally, and the company has never shied away from holding batches that fail. Their fair trade certified lines trace sourcing directly to farmer cooperatives in origin countries. You can verify the supply chain because Frontier publishes their sourcing partners. This is the opposite of the vague spices loophole that Lorry's Old Bay and McCormick hide behind. Frontier's organic turmeric specifically, one of the most contaminated spices in the conventional market, tests consistently below California. Proposition 65 thresholds for lead. They publish those numbers. For health-conscious families who've been burned by brands hiding behind organic labels while delivering glyphosate residues, Frontier Co-op is what genuine accountability looks like in a spice company. Cooperative ownership means no corporate executive is weighing your health against a quarterly profit target. Burlap and barrel, single origin spices, direct trade with smallholder farmers. Every product on their website includes the origin, farm, the region, the harvest season, and flavor tasting notes written by the people who sourced it personally. Burlap and Barrel was founded in 2017, specifically because its founders were dissatisfied with the opacity of the conventional spice industry. They traveled directly to origin countries, established direct relationships with farmers, and built a supply chain where every step is documented and published. Their smoked pimenton comes from a specific cooperative in Extremadura, Spain. Their Zanzibar black pepper comes from one island. Their wild mountain cumin is sourced from a single collective in Afghanistan. You know exactly where every spice has been before it reaches your kitchen. Yes, Burlap and Barrel costs more. You're paying for documented sourcing, small batch freshness, and flavor compounds that industrial spices lost during months of warehouse storage. Open any Burlap and Barrel product, and the aroma alone tells you something different is happening. That's volatile organic chemistry still intact, because the supply chain is short and the sourcing is honest. This is what spice used to be before corporations turned it into powder with a pedigree problem. And there you have it. From lead hiding in your taco seasoning to accent wiring your brain for dependency, we've pulled back the label on what's actually living in your spice cabinet. Corporate shortcuts turn seasoning into a silent health trap shaken onto dinner every single night. But Simply Organic, Frontier Co-op, and Burlap and Barrel prove that clean spices still exist. They just require knowing where to look. Go check your cabinet right now. If you see any brand from this list, don't wait to finish the bottle. Hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. More food industry investigations are coming. Stay sharp, stay healthy, and keep rising.